Hello, everyone, and good evening. Today, I'm going to be attempting to draw a map of Europe purely from memory. Now, I did this recently, and by recently, I think maybe a month ago, for my home country, the United States, and completely forgot Alabama doing so. So this is probably going to be much worse, and the shape of these countries is going to be absolutely hideous, but I think it will provide a very entertaining experience. So we're going to get started up over in this area here. I'm going to draw my interpretation of the United Kingdom. I'd like to apologize to any of my viewers from the United Kingdom for what you're about to see. So the UK is kind of pickle shaped. It's like this long, tall sort of shape. Then it goes a little like this. This is the Scotland area up here. And it comes back down and looks absolutely nothing like that. But again, this is all artistic interpretation. So we'll just write UK like though. And I've actually been to the United Kingdom. I've been down here in the south, right here. There's a little dot roughly in this area. This little dot here is London. That's London there. Then, of course, to the west of the United Kingdom, you've got another landmass here. We're just going to draw like a little shape such as that. And this is Ireland. And my family on one side actually comes from Ireland. We don't know how far back the records go. I know someone in my family recently tried to do a family tree project, and they went back as far as they could. They couldn't quite figure out when our ancestors came over to America. We think it was sometime in the 1600s. I'm not entirely sure, but part of my family is from over here, and then of course above Ireland you've got this part here, which is still part of the United Kingdom. This is North Ireland, Northern Ireland right there. Okay, now to the southwest-ish area, you've got a bit of a larger landmass that's more rectangular in nature. Looks a little something like this. And this is France. And then somewhere sort of in this area, I believe, is Paris. Right? And then even more to the west, over in this area, Spain. It's another sort of rectangular shape. And then go like this, go like that. We have as well, we have Portugal. So this is Spain here. Spain. And this is Portugal. We're just going to say P-O-R there. Now, this is where my knowledge is starting to dissipate, because I know Madrid is a city in Spain, and I think Madrid is roughly in this area. Madrid. And then what is the other city in Spain that's very, very popular? Gosh, it's not coming to me right now, but I know they have a soccer team that's really, really good, or at least they were very, very good for a very long time. And it's not Madrid, it's the other one. I don't know. Not too big of a deal. But that is Spain there. And then over slightly north of France, we've got another square country-ish shape. It's I think it's slightly smaller than France, if I remember correctly, and that is Germany. This is another part of the world where my family comes from, is Germany. And I believe Berlin is over here, I think. I believe this is where Berlin is. And then north of France, and sort of next to Germany, there's a very, very tiny, tiny country right around here. This little pizza slice. This is Luxembourg. I'll title that LX. And then above that, sort of shaped like that. This is Belgium. This is Belgium. I don't know a single city in Belgium, but to the north of Belgium is something like that, and this is Amsterdam. Amsterdam is right here. Now, when I was on a school trip, my senior trip for being a senior in high school, we went to London. And when we were making plans to go to London as seniors, we thought about perhaps taking a day trip from London to Amsterdam or London to Paris, and neither of those two things happened. I was very excited for the opportunity to possibly go to Paris. I've always wanted to go to Paris. Didn't quite end up happening, but you know, dreams got a dream. But what we did do is we went somewhere around here. We went to Oxford instead, and that was a very fun experience because we went to Oxford University itself. Very prestigious university. Oh my goodness, that was very eye-opening for me. But we went to Oxford University. We toured some of the locations where they shot Harry Potter at Oxford, and I got to learn a bunch about how old Oxford University is. It's very old. For those of you who don't know, it's one of the oldest universities in the world. But yeah, we went over to Oxford. Very fun time. And now I say all that because I'm stalling, right? I'm stalling from the fact that I am losing any credibility I have for geography here in this next turn, because I know roughly the countries that are in this area, but I think the general position is going to be very, very wrong, because I know Poland is somewhere around here. Oh goodness. Poland is in here somewhere. And somewhere over here is Switzerland. And then, you know, from there it really starts to divide, to, you know, disintegrate. But for the time being, I know for a fact that this, if we draw a little circle up here, this is Norway. And then next to Norway, this is Sweden. And then sort of going the other direction a little bit, over this way, this should be Finland. Very hard to write at this angle, but good enough. So that's the Scandies taken care of. And then somewhere in this general direction, I'm just going to put it here, roughly shaped like this, is Denmark. Roughly that shape. Okay, so Denmark is roughly there. And then Poland, I think, is like this. I believe Poland, and then in this sort of area is Warsaw. Of course, the famous Warsaw Pact at the end of World War II, or was it World War I? One of those two. My history is not touched up, but roughly there is Warsaw. And then this is Switzerland. I don't think it's quite that big, but you know, Switzerland. Switzerland is a very beautiful country I've always wanted to visit. And speaking of beautiful countries, my top travel destination, if I ever get to travel again, God willing, you know, is right here. It is this is a horrible interpretation of it, but this, ladies and gentlemen, my top travel destination, place I want to visit before the day comes that I die. This is Italy right here. Now, Rome, I believe, is right around there. Rome. Now, when we get further east in Europe, this is where I just, you know, I know over here, right, in this general area, on the other side of the Mediterranean, I know this is where Yugoslavia used to be, and there's a bunch of countries over here that I don't have any idea where is what. I think roughly, right? Roughly, I think this is Slovenia. Slovenia. After that, no idea. I mean, I know down here somewhere. Down here is Greece. Somewhere in this area is also the Czech Republic. I think it's like over here is the Czech Republic. No idea what's here though. I know Bosnia is in here somewhere. So we're just gonna title this the Balkans. The Balkans. So that's what it is. That's the Balkans right there. Many unnamed Balkan states. I apologize to any viewers from this part of the world, but my memory is escaping me. I didn't look at any maps for this, okay? This is purely off rip. I may be exposing myself terribly, but this is what it is. So, just off rip, this is what I remember about Europe. So, what does that say about my education system? Okay, so somewhere in here is also Ukraine, and I think we're gonna cut this here. We're gonna call this the Czech Republic. I don't think that's exactly where it is, but roughly in that spot. And then above that somewhere, like here-ish, I think is Belarus. I believe. And then somewhere in this location as well is also Hungary. So we're just gonna draw some rough shapes and call this Hungary. Hungary. And then Budapest, I think, is down here, I believe. Budapest. So roughly in that area. And then from here, this is Ukraine. And then Kyiv would not be on this map. Kyiv is further east. That much I do know. And then somewhere above Poland, there's actually a little slice here. A little chunk of Russia. So right there is a chunk of Russia. And then somewhere in this upper area, you have the former Soviet states. So this, I believe, is roughly Lithuania. Lithuania, I believe, is there. And I know there's another one, but I don't know the exact name of it. But I think there's one here. Don't know the name of it. And then above that is Estonia. And then over here would also be Russia. So that, ladies and gentlemen, if you can believe it, that is my map of Europe, based purely on memory. No cheat sheets, no Googling, no nothing. There is definitely something that I've missed. And, you know, if you're from a country here that I have missed, please feel free to berate me in the comments. I'm sure it'll be very entertaining. So, this was my attempt. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to speak with you all again soon, and goodbye for now.